afternoon, good morning, good evening, folks. Where this is man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Technically it's not really female bodybuilding talk, but it's curtain there because I do have a lady here who is in the fitness world. And at one point she was a bodybuilder. She mentioned this. We have here the lovely Miss Jamie Dorso. If that's
Desso.
That's so okay.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. From the South, we spell it how we see it sometimes. So we welcome her. She is a fitness influencer, a teacher, and her specialty is kettlebells. The kettlebells are like the thing you use, like that. So we've been trying to have this interview because she's a busy lady, and we finally got it. As today is Christmas Eve.
Well, I'm on winter break, so perfect time.
Yeah. Your kids be saying, you get your kids be with their parents for the next 2 weeks. Say, okay, when kids gonna start back? When kids gonna start back? When school gonna start back? Yeah.
They are. They've all asked for kettlebells for Christmas. They're too funny.
Yeah. So, how did you start? What got you into this fitness and also the kettlebell thing?
Well, funny. I actually have only been into kettlebells for the past a little over 2 years, 2.5. I was before that just bodybuilder. I was a runner at first. And I don't know, I played sports all high school. When I went to college, I played basketball for a year and then I stopped. And I kind of got into partying a little bit too much. And I came home and I was not happy with myself after I think it was my junior year. And I just started going back to the gym and running. And I got really into running for a while. That was the main thing I would do. I would run oh my gosh, probably 60, 70 miles a week. And then I would lift on top of that, not realizing I'm running way too much to even build the muscle that I'm trying to build. So that I did that for a while. And then I kind of been in and out of different kinds of training. I like to do, I did some CrossFit style training, bodybuilding. I've done it all, but I recently was right a little bit after COVID, my ex-boyfriend actually started picking up kettlebells and using them when the gyms were closed. And then he introduced them to me and I just fell in love immediately. I've always been a gym goer. I'm addicted. That's my passion. I love it. But I feel after a while it wasn't a passion anymore. It was more I'm going to the gym. I'm doing the same thing I had no goals. People would ask me all the time, what are your goals? And I'm I don't know. I'm just working out. I had no goals in the gym. Then I found kettlebells and it's just a whole new world of just learning and growing. And I just constantly want to get better and get stronger at them. And I've never felt that way, even when I was a bodybuilder. I was just bodybuilding to bodybuild, just for physique. I guess my mindset changed more from physique purposes to athletic purposes. I feel I'm playing sports again, if that makes sense.
I can understand that. A lot of people get into something really especially if they're going through hardships, college. I did a couple of years in college. It was technical college. It was not real college, but it can be tough, leaving home and then the party scene happens because you'll be around people your age, you want to have a good time, but then you feel like you're not fulfilled. You feel like you're looking for something. So what got you into teaching?
I've always wanted to be a teacher. I think ever since I was my first grade teacher had a really big influence on me. And it's really funny because I taught first grade before this year. I taught first grade for the most of my educational career and I loved it. This year my school moved me to second grade and I was not thrilled about it. And I love it. I do love it. But definitely my first grade teacher, I just remember loving her so much and having this really special bond with her. And I remember her giving me nicknames and even she used to call me Twinkle Toes because I danced. She came to one of my concerts. We just had a connection that you don't always have with every teacher. And I guess that's when I decided I wanted to be a teacher. There was never another thought about it. It was just what I wanted to be.
Everybody has their thing that really gets them passionate. It's good that you have someone like your teacher. What was your teacher's name?
Mrs. Bisaglia.
It's a long
Mrs.
name.
Bisaglia. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
hard in first grade to pronounce that. Mrs. B, we called
yeah.
her.
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be a grown man to say that name. So,
And actually, later on in life, when I was subbing and still in college, and I was substitute teaching, I went back to the school where I went, and I was subbing there. So I got to see her. We would eat lunch together when I was there. So it was cool to like get that connection with her as an adult as well.
hmm yeah, because you know what? Sometimes I used to run into some of my teachers when I was coming up. Like uh, high school teachers, middle school teachers, because I live in a small town, and
Yeah.
and just you run into, especially if the ones you like. And so now you talk about things. As one teacher, his name was Mr. McLean. He was my what was he? He was my history teacher. No, was he history? Or civics? I can't remember. He used to say this to me when I was in high school. Said, Mr. MacArthur, I taught your brother, your sisters, yeah, yeah, because it was a generational thing. And then
Yep.
one time I remember my nephew told me, said, Mr. McLean says this. What? So he said something to me, he says, Mr. MacArthur, I taught your mother, your aunts, your uncles. That's how it is. So you were doing the kettlebell things. Also, you doing bodybuilding training. Were you ever interested in competing, or you just feel like it's a little too much?
Yeah, no, I never. I mean, there was one period where I thought about it for a quick second, but honestly, the food tracking and all that is like a little bit too much for me. And I was like tracking macros for a little while, and it got to be like I was way too obsessed. And it was just like same thing with like wearing a watch and tracking my calories. Like I have this like personality where I become like very obsessed, and it just wasn't good for me. It was giving me more anxiety than anything. So no, I never really, plus I like just can't even picture. I'm not like a poser. I don't know how to pose. I don't know how to walk in heels. Like I can't picture myself like being like that on stage. I don't know. So yeah, there were like a couple thoughts about it, but I never even really attempted it. The eating thing is the biggest thing for me. I don't like feeling weak. So like I'm eating my carbs. Like I want to throw around heavy weight. So I'm eating my carbs.
Yeah, because bodybuilding is a tough sport. I mean, ladies I talk to, you have to have a passion for it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do the micros. They just as long as you know how much the weight steak. Because my friend, he's a IFB pro. He told me, say, hey, I don't do micros. If I know I got ounce of steak, I'm good. I don't count the
Yep.
macros like that.
You
But
learn
yeah,
your
the whole thing.
body.
Yeah, the whole thing is also the prepping the food because sometimes you have to, you have to eat. This is professional for bodybuilding. You have to eat at least 6 or 7 times a
A
day,
lot. Yeah.
and then you have to
It's a lot of work.
train. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's just a lot of work. So now, since you're now a teacher, work with kids. What's that like? Because I've seen some of your stuff and what you do with your children. It was really great. I mean, like the video that somebody showed me, it really, really tells me that you really care for your children.
I love this class. I really do. We're I had a really tough year last year. Like I questioned my teaching. Like I questioned being a teacher. I've had a couple years like that. Not many. I've been blessed, but last year was very, very tough. And then they wanted me to loop up with the same grade, which I was like, oh my gosh, I just dealt with this grade. Like it was insane. Like it was a very hard year. But it's a different mixture of kids this year. They're a little bit older, a little bit more mature. So I don't know. I have a really special bond with this class. And I think, and randomly with the kettlebells, it was a random thing. On Fridays, we do Fun Friday for the last like 15 minutes of the day. Like the kids worked hard all week, Fun Friday. We either like do like some dance, like some game in the classroom as a class, or like some dancing, like just a way of like connecting and having some fun. And one Friday I just randomly brought in my kettlebell, and I was like, I'm just going to show my students some of my kettlebell stuff. And they were like so engaged. They just sat through the whole thing. They like couldn't even believe it. Then they all kept asking me to bring back my kettlebell every week. So I kept bringing it back. And then I'm like, a guy reached out to me that makes kettlebells for kids. And he was like, I mean, if you ever, I would love to send you a couple kettlebells for your classroom. He sent me 4 free kettlebells. And the kids were just obsessed. They loved them. And then I raised money. Now they each have their own kettlebell in the classroom that they'll get to take home at the end of the year. They ask me every day, can we take, like right before Christmas break, they're like, well, can we take our kettlebells? I'm like, no, you can get them at the end of the year. So it was just a random win that they just absolutely loved.
Well, that's great because you know what? Children are easy influence. You know, especially if you give them something good to focus
Yeah.
on. Something that really like nowadays, the kids now, like when I was coming up, you know, we used to just run around and play, give it this and that. Kids are more into
Now
the
it's video
uh,
games.
video games and on the phones and
Yep.
social media. I
Screen
mean,
time.
my highlights was on Saturday mornings. I get up and watch cartoons, you
Yep.
know, and then
Yeah.
I
And then
mean,
we would go outside in the neighborhood for the day, and my mom would call me in for dinner. Like we would be playing with all the neighborhood kids, and that's
mhm,
not how it is anymore,
mhm. I think
unfortunately.
I think with a lot of it because you know some people are worried about how they shouldn't interact with other people, and then things are going on. You know, everybody stranger danger, but usually it's not a
Yeah,
stranger.
it's a different world now.
Yeah, you know, it's usually just that I think if people were a little bit more be concerned, but also let children be children, you know, and enjoy life when it has. So, folks, what we're going to do here while we have Jamie here, we're going to jump into her social media. If you want to follow her, her link is in the description of this live. Check her out, support her. Guys, you know my rules, you know, no weird stuff. This is a nice lady.
I get enough weird stuff. I get enough weird
This is
stuff.
a nice lady. Come on. I know she may not be, you know, like most of the guys who follow me, most like into women's bodybuilding, but if you see some of the stuff, you be impressed. So, so we're gonna jump into our social medias here. And this is the video that one of my friends sent me that got my attention here. We're gonna pull it up.
Your mom's jealous of this?
I would be. Yeah.
Mom's crazy about me? It's hard. I'm in heels today, people. Okay. All right, everyone gets a kiss.
That was crazy. You know, the reason why I got sick is the flexing thing. You flex your biceps. You know, most of my guys are into women with muscle, and you know
My
that's really nice.
students now
And,
flex. It's so funny.
yeah, I mean the thing is that I think one thing, especially with parents, and you know, they feel like it's something different when you see, especially a woman, even if you just have a little muscle. You know, because like I said, I do
Right.
love my cartoon women's bodybuilding. I know some ladies who have mothers who have children, and sometimes they have to get the side eye from people because of how they look.
Yep.
But you know what? You know, it's about fitness, and that's the results of it. Like here you are working out in the gym, and what's your routine like when you're working out?
Oh gosh, it's never the same. I just make up stuff that I want to do in my head and get better at and do it. It's kind of like I would say circuit style with some complexes and um I try to do some like heavy work a couple days a week and then I'll do like conditioning work like twice a week. The only it's really all full body except I do target 2 leg days a week where it's just one is quad focused, one is hamstring focused. Other than that, every day is full body. I don't target a specific body part, but you're hitting everything like with what I do.
What you feel like is your most complimentary feature, especially when you're working out?
I would say my back. I don't know. Ever since kettlebells, though, my core as well. I've never had abs before kettlebells. Everything that you're doing with the kettlebells, you're using your core. It's just really crazy. One day I just woke up and I'm like, oh my God, I have a 6-pack. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's like anything about working the building thing. You start seeing things. Maybe there's things were already there at the time, but once you start working on it and building it, then it starts popping up. Here she is with her kids. It's like I think before Christmas went out. We're gonna play this a little bit. that's really sweet. You
They love it. I said no single arm swings or swinging it above your head. They do all of that.
Well, children are very flexible. They want to really want to show out, especially to their teacher. And it's a lot of
This is
work. What you're
so
doing.
on Fridays I keep a couple students in for lunch if they earn it, and then I teach them a flow or some kind of complex.
Uh-huh. That's good. Like I said, you are doing good work, and I think the parents should be appreciative of what you're doing because you know what, most parents now are busy. They have their jobs, and they're trying to keep home, and
Yeah, and
someone like
I've
you
been
come along.
lucky. My parents this year are pretty great. The funny thing is the comments I get on social media for it are like nasty. And it's like from people that have no idea what education is like these days. Like these kids need to move. They cannot my students can't even sit still for a 10-minute lesson and focus. Like you have to think outside the box to keep them engaged in anything or they're not learning at all.
Yeah, because you know what, children they really need something to really keep them together. Like especially where society is. It's so much that's going on, and and they need something to focus. Like what you're doing, working out and training with them, and teaching them and like that. And
Yeah, and
often, yeah. Go
not
ahead.
to mention even to lead them into healthy lifestyles instead of like the other path is drugs and alcohol. Unfortunately, that's more common than a child getting into fitness these days, and especially where I teach, it's like get them into something positive, like to set them up for success.
It makes me think of the movie. You remember the movie Green Mile with Tom Hanks and Michael J.
Yeah,
Clark? At the end says when he left working in the prison, started working with juveniles, says get them while they're young,
yep,
and that's what you want to do. You want to get them where their minds are not as
already made up already.
yeah, yeah, not as just kind of fickle. We get them when they're young. They're very because, like I said, I grew up in a good sized family. 6 of us kids, and then the nieces and nephews, and I got great nieces and nephews. And I'm getting up there now. I never had children myself, but I did help raise them. And I still, even though they're their own people, they still see me as the Uncle George. Or like I have 2 nephews who are really close in age with me. We were like brothers, and that's the relationships, especially family relationships. Like your parents, are they still around, or and
Yep,
how do you feel
my
about this
parents
whole
are around.
cattlebell thing?
They're what?
How do you feel like the daughter be the cattlebell queen?
They love it. My dad has always been my dad is my biggest fan in life. He was very hard on me growing up, like with academics and sports, and I think that's why I've always taken that road, and that's why I'm also very hard on myself. But it's also like such a passion now that it's like I just want to get better at everything. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I just love it so much. Like I look forward to working out every single day. I look forward to seeing like what I can do next. I look forward to learning new things, trying new things. And my dad is like has always been. He still goes to like I played basketball, softball, soccer all of high school. He still goes to high school games, girls games. He won't even know anybody on the team. He just like you like female, like he likes female sports because I've always played and he's always like loved it. And so he'll still go around the area and watch, and he loves. I'll send him videos and he really loves it.
That's good. I think it goes back to that saying: a boy, like a girl's first true love is her dad. The father, he's the man that sets example for the rest of her life. Like for me, my mother was somebody who we loved. My parents were together for 55 years, even though he was living in New Jersey, we were still down here in North Carolina. And my mom had raised us, and you know what, the old saying, a boy's best friend is his mother. And it's
Yeah.
good when our parents support us in what we do. And I know when I say when I do content, especially when we're in bodybuilding, some people don't understand it because it's so different. And the people who are making comments about you on social media, here's the thing is, these are people who don't have the mentality or the capability to do what you do. It takes a lot of work. I can tell you the truth. Hey, I worked out a bit. I don't work much like I used to, but you know, it takes a lot to motivate yourself to go in the gym, to lift weights, to follow a plan. You just doing what you're doing, just basically just working your whole physique out, not just like how a bodybuilder or any other athlete does, working particular parts in here, particular parts there. But if you don't understand it, ask questions. You
Yeah.
know, educate yourself. Don't just be ignorant and not just make comments because you don't know any better.
It's wild. Someone wrote, how are you helping them for their future? I was like, what?
That's not
That
your
didn't even make sense. I read that and I thought I lost brain cells. I was like, what?
see. That's the thing. See, you're teaching here, teaching them. The rest of it is responsibility of the families. You know, this thing is
Right.
people. We go to school. School is to teach you the basics. How to say reading, writing,
Yeah.
arithmetic, and everything else.
But you still
And
got to practice it at home,
yeah, and
just like anything.
yeah, it's anything. It's everybody has to play a part. You play your part. Your parents play a part.
Yep.
The parents are the ones, even though the children spend more time with you during the week, they're still responsible. Like whenever you go on a field trip, you got to get permission,
Right.
from the parents so the kids can go. You're responsible for them, but still you have to get that permission from the parents.
I think a lot that has changed with education since I was a kid and now is that the parents now think all responsibility is the teacher. Where I grew up, I got home from school, my ass is sitting down doing my homework. I can't do anything until I get my homework done. I was reading every night, and it's not like that anymore. The kids get home and they're not doing anything. There's no accountability, and it's all left up to the teachers. And we can only teach them, and we have that time with them, but you still need to practice the skills outside of the classroom or even over the summer when you're home for that long. Like it's just there's a really sad disconnect, I think, in the education system.
Yeah.
And people that aren't educators have no idea about how students really, really need this bond and this connection with their teacher, or they're not going to perform for you. They're so disrespectful these days. It's absolutely insane. The stiff stuff that they get away with and do. My parents, my bottom would have been smacked. I was grounded all the time. I did one thing wrong, I'm grounded. They're not even hearing my side of the story. If I talked back to a teacher and the teacher wrote them an email or called them, they used to call and leave messages. I try to get home and delete the message. I was grounded. I was grounded right away. I couldn't even explain myself. And now parents come at the teachers. It's not the child's fault. It's the teacher's fault.
That's
It's very different.
There's a disconnect between parents and teacher. Like when I was in school, if I got caught and got something happened, I did something in school and they call or send me a note, I got a whooping. I got two whoopings at school and whooping at home.
Yeah.
I think it's too many people thinking that these things that was happening back when we come in were bad, but it wasn't. It was a thing that formed you. You became a better
you
person.
need consequences. You
Yeah.
need to be held accountable. And I feel like, and that's what's happening with our world too. Like these kids are just growing up without any accountability ever. So even when they get to be like teenagers or adults, like it's just a whole cycle of just everybody's entitled. Everybody's entitled. It's crazy. But the fact that I have my class this year and where they are and how they love to come to school, the parents actually like are on board with me. And I've had a couple in the beginning of the year like try to give me shit. And I think that they saw like how much I love my class and like I'm actually on their team. And now they're like full supporters. Like I think at first they were like, what is this lady doing? And then I kind of just won them over. I sent an email. I was like, can your children be in this video on Christmas? They all responded, absolutely. They would love it. I have it all written consent. Like, I'm not trying to get any parent to be like, why is my child, but people will comment that, like someone comment, this teacher should be fired. I'm like, okay.
That's somebody either don't have a life or don't have kids. You don't understand that sometimes you need to do something to motivate these children.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot. Because like I said, I know people. One of my sisters even was a substitute teacher at one point during her career. And be a teacher, the pay is not that much. Benefits a few far between. No. I mean, you can become very because you give them one and say, why I gotta go here. But we
Yeah.
need people like you. We need the teachers to help our children, to teach them. There's some things that as parents we may not know, and it's good that we have people like yourself who care, who want to really form a bond and impress these children. And these parents out here, like, who have a problem, they're people who either didn't come up in the house where, hey, you got your ass whooped, excuse my language, but there's just so much to it. Like, so again, you just really have to be open. That's probably with adults. We adults, we see things in life and we get jaded and we just don't have that same, you know, open mindedness like children
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. It's so true. And kids really don't want to like try things and do hard things at all. Like in school, if something's hard, a lot of them like they don't have that capacity anymore to like work through it until you get it. They just want to give up right away. And to learn these movements and for my students to sit there and I will teach them a whole flow with like a string of like 4 movements and they remember it and put it together and they want to do it. They'll ask me if they could go in the corner and like practice it at the end of the day. We have like 10 minutes at the end of every day. They're asking me if they could go over and practice their movements. Like they're wanting to do hard things now. They're wanting to get better. It's teaching them that, like if anything, it's teaching them resilience, discipline, like do hard things, watch yourself get better. And then you feel proud of yourself, accomplishment, all of it.
Yeah, anything worth having, you have to work at it. It's not going to be given to you. And are you instructed too outside of the school? Do you do any like teaching or anything to
I'm a
people?
certified coach. I train online, but I actually have a tutoring business. So I tutor more than I train, and I would like to get more into the training at some point, maybe over the summer. But yeah, I'm a busy lady. I'm, teaching salary. I'm a single woman. I live by myself. Like my teaching salary is if I'm living just off that, I'm house broke. So I had to, think outside the box. I do programs online. I have a couple online clients. I'm actually going to do a children's clinic soon at the gym I go to. So that's going to be a new thing. And I'm definitely going to, I want to get my students in, like not charge them like one Saturday. Hey, whoever wants to come, bring your child. Cause they would just absolutely love to see like the gym and, bring some kettlebells. It would just be a
Yeah,
cute experience.
that'd be something nice, especially to get the kids, especially in the summer. Because I remember in the summer. Well, a couple of summers ago, I did have a little job. My family was sharecropper. Sometimes I go and work with my mom, my brother, my sister. Sometimes, and then I remember my first real job was 16. I was working at a gas station. I worked at a gas station for 15 years. Then I had another job when I was about 20 something. I had 2 jobs at one point. I was really busy, but in the summer, as kids, all we do is
Yeah,
run around, do
they have
this.
no structure.
Yeah, you just really just catching up the cartoons you missed during the week because you had to go to school, and
Mhm.
really you're not really doing anything. You just maybe this would be good for them. I think if the parents are willing and they feel like this is helpful for them, especially it's giving them a better healthy chance in life. Not
Right.
just
A
and
chance.
also with training, you also get a regimen that helps. You get a schedule where okay I get up in the morning, I do this, I do that. I'm set to the schedule, rest, sleep, eat, work
Yep.
out, do my homework. I mean, when I got off school, sometimes I used to, well, I grew up in the 80s. So I didn't go do my
Oh, me
homework right away.
too.
So like, yeah, I say, I watch He-Man for about an hour or so. And then, okay, I try to do my homework since I watch He-Man and say, look out, He-Man. But
I mean,
it's just,
and I've just always functioned better with structure in my life and on a schedule. When I went off to college and I didn't play sports that one year, that's when it was not good. I was sleeping or I wasn't going to class. I was sleeping, skipping class. I was going out because I didn't have anything to do the next day. And I ended up coming home. I was at Lemoyne and I was like, I need more structure in my life. Like this is not, I don't function well without it. So
yeah, I can understand that because my brother when he went to college, he was mostly, he used to play football here in our hometown, and he was mostly well known here. And then you go to college, it's a different environment. And you remember one time he was talking to some people said he was ready to come back home, came back home, he worked, had his daughters. And my brother passed away like 20 years ago. He was my big brother. He was the one who inspired me to get into the bodybuilding stuff because he used to always get the muscle mags. And I used to love leading the muscle mags and following the bodybuilders. I grew up the tail end of the Schwarzenegger era, just amazing people in the sport. And doing this content, especially on women in bodybuilding, I get to learn things about the process, the training, the dieting, so much work you put into it. And a lot of these ladies who I have become friends with, many of them they have kids, they have children, they have responsibilities. And to compete in the sport and to find the time, and you
Yeah.
being a teacher, training and helping your children and then find time for yourself, what you think that maybe in the future, if you retire or maybe, get out of teaching, you really think this would be a career move for you as a coach and trainer?
Yes. And I think with kids, like I like teaching the kids,
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's cool to teach adults or train adults, but like it's really fun watching them. Like one of my students got a bottoms up like clean the other day, and I was so excited. Like I just was like, oh my God. I don't know why. There's just something like his face lit up that he did it. And it's just like, and that's why I love teaching first grade, because when they start getting the reading process and they get so proud of themselves and they're like, oh my God, I can read. And it's like a really great thing to be a part of and to see. And I don't know, I think like even just training with the youth would be something I would want to do for
Yeah,
sure.
that's good. Yeah, I think it's best like with the children much younger because they're a little more open-minded. Teenagers,
Yeah, no. I remember me as a teenager. Nope, no, thank you.
I can remember myself. I wasn't bad. I was me. I was just different. I mean, I wasn't like typical teenager, but
No, I was
everybody.
I would talk back. I was just no.
Oh, I did that once. With my mama, and I
Oh my, I was
no,
grounded
no.
every weekend. Every weekend was grounded.
Grounded. My mom was Dusty Rose. She's like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
yeah. What's grounded? We never heard that. What's that? What's that? Grounded pepper? Okay, yeah. Good pepper. Yeah. We know that. But yeah, we got punished, but in different ways, but we different life. But yeah, what you're doing and tending to the children, finding your passion, especially that's one thing, finding your passion. Because you know what? Life is short.
Right.
We're not immortal creatures, humans. We anything can happen, this or that. And you need to find something in your life. Like what I'm doing, this is a passion for me. When I
Right.
reach out to people like yourself, when I talk to you, when I hear your stories, and I really get perspective from it. I really learn from these experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, folks, like I said, this is a great lady. I think she has a great passion for what she's doing. I mean, working with children, doing what she's doing. I mean, most people don't understand it, but the thing is, people, you have to be open minded. And that's the thing about the children. They're open minded, they're willing to learn. And sometimes, even as adults, sometimes we need to learn some stuff. Even I'm, like I said, just turned 50 about a month ago, I would say a month ago, and I'm still learning things. But like I said, you just have to be willing and wanting to learn. Yeah. So, folks, we do appreciate Jamie's time. We wish her
Thank
all the
you.
best of luck in her future. I mean, it's great to talk to someone. I know this is usually I like to talk to big buff ladies, but you know what? You have an amazing physique. I would tell you that.
Thank
You work
you.
hard. Yeah, yeah. I like the other guy. He likes to say this to you. He says, "Oh yeah, Jamie, I want to tell you something. You are beautiful." This is not your typical other guy. I have to see a special about him. I mean, he completes me. But
Thank you so much.
no. This is from a quote from my favorite movie, Batman Begins. It says, "You never have to. This is why I do this to give people like yourself a voice that people might need to share." I know I talk ways like how people are shame about who they are, being fit or working out or training, but it's a passion. If you don't understand it, learn. If you don't,
Right.
mind your business.
Don't judge. Yeah. Yeah. Just move on with your life if you don't like it.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's easy, but some people they feel like they want to give a voice, and who cares about you? Like I could say something, but I know you kids might want to watch this video, so I keep it. I keep myself. I'm trying to keep myself clean here, so you know. But we do appreciate Jamie for coming through, sharing her story. Wish
My
her best of
pleasure.
luck. No, no, man. The pleasure is all mine. As a Southern gentleman, it's my pleasure to have a lady on. So I really thank you for your time,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
You know. So, folks, if you want to follow Jamie, her links are in the description of this live. I know she may not be. A lot of my guys who follow myself is most into bodybuilders like that. Maybe a cup of tea, but just follow her, especially if you're someone with a family, you have kids. If you're in her area, maybe check her out. You know, and really be open minded. If the children are open minded and willing, you should be too. You know, I know it's hardest for us adults, but you know what? We had that little children, a little bit of a child inside of us. Sometimes we need to pull on a little bit. Maybe we won't be so rigid and so direct. Especially, you know, Christmas time is coming. Oh my God. Tomorrow's Christmas. I ain't doing. I'm just going to my sister's house and eating. That's about it. You know.
Yeah.
You know. I don't even put a tree up this year because that used to be the thing my mom used to love to do, but she's been gone. So, you know. But again,
I have
man.
a Charlie Brown tree. I have a Charlie Brown tree.
I used to love to watch it, but now you got to watch. You got to go watch it. Was it Amazon Prime? Oh God. I I'll put it up on YouTube somewhere. I think YouTube got the old,
Yeah.
yeah. I watch it. I ain't gonna pay y'all for watching Charlie Brown. I used to watch it forever for free. Took Charlie Brown to Thanksgiving. Took Amazon Prime. I hate them. But anyway, Jamie, thank you for your time, man. Thank you.
Thank
Best of luck to
you.
you. Tell your children keep doing what they're doing. You know, they're the future.
Absolutely.
All right. So,
Have a
folks,
Merry Christmas.
and you too, and a happy Professor New Year.
You as well.
Yeah, okay. So, folks, thank you for your time. We appreciate y'all go looking out. It's your man, all the way George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't subscribe. Catch us. Good night, good morning, good luck, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.